All right, thank you everyone for joining us today. I call the February 19th, 2025 meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission to order. The first item on the agenda is to approve the meeting, or the agenda, excuse me. Does anyone have any item they would like to add to the agenda? And if not, can I get a motion to approve the order of the agenda?
Oh, yeah.
Can I
I'll
get a second? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. The next item is to approve the minutes of the November 20, 2024 meeting. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same side. Motion carried. All right, we're cruising through this agenda. The next item is to approve the minutes of the February 10, 2025 informational meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. All right, the next item on the agenda is board appointments. I'll call on Deb Williams of the nominating committee to speak on this item.
Thank you, Chair. First thing I'd like to say is I would like to say thank you to Tracy for serving as our board chair for, it's been at least 2 years, maybe longer. 4? Okay, all right. Yeah, the pandemic kind of really, yeah. But thank you so much for your commitment and your hard work. The next thing I'd like to do is I would like to nominate Anna Johnson for the position of vice chair for 2 years. Sweet. So do I call for the motion?
I think so.
I do? Okay.
I think someone does.
I
Somebody
so
is.
move to nominate Anna Johnson for the position of vice chair.
I second it.
I say that's congratulations, Anna.
Thank you very much. I
Thank
appreciate
you
it.
thank you for volunteering to
Ma'am.
for this work. Next, I would
Excuse
like.
me. Sorry to interrupt. I think we need just a full board voice vote.
Oh, okay.
okay.
Got it.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Okay. All right. Next, I would like to nominate Monica Brown Ekis. Is that right? Ecker, thank you. I'm always getting something wrong. Monica Brown Ecker for the position of chair. She will serve for 2 years.
I would like to make that formal. I said that incorrectly.
Motion?
Motion, thank you, for Monica as the board chair.
Okay. I'll second that.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Congratulations.
Congratulations and thank you for volunteering for this position.
Thank
I
you.
think both of you are going to be so great. It's going to be fun.
It's exciting.
Thank you, guys.
Team.
All right, the next is, item on the agenda is to review the ROI Ripples of Impact Final Document Recommendation. Last Monday on February 10th was the informational with the Arts and Culture Commission and the City Commission, where the ROI document was discussed in more detail. Our recommendation is included in the memo. Are there any questions on this item? Okay, if not, can I get a motion?
Yes.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second the motion to recommend the final document.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same side. All right, the motion has carried. The next item is a communications plan. Greg Schildberger, I pray I said that correctly, and other communications and government affairs staff will present on the communications plan.
Yeah, I'll do a quick intro while they're getting set up here. So I think several of you have had a chance to meet Greg and his team, but we're really excited to get to this stage of the ROI. And as we start to talk about it, I think our very first Arts and Culture meeting way back in 2015 or something was about a communication plan. I think we're finally getting there. So I'll turn it over to Greg.
Thank you, Nicole.
Good afternoon, members of Arts and Culture Commission. We're excited to be here today to kind of talk to you about some broad ideas. I know you're probably excited to share some of your ideas with us, so we'd like to hear those as we go through this. So one of the things that we want to talk about today is this is an engagement idea and a philosophy. It's not just how many posts that we're going to do every other week or every week. You know, before in social media management, it was about how many posts can and you guarantee you do each week to be able to be prioritized in the algorithm. With us on our platforms, we're posting enough content with all the work of all the departments that we're definitely posting more than one post a day. So now it's how are we putting meaning behind those posts? And so with this strategy that we're laying out for your consideration, it's not only the number of posts, but a real concentrated effort to make the post be as powerful as they can be. So the approach that we'd like to do is, you know, really engage in a conversation with our residents, not just a post to push information out, but to also engage in listening with our community. What are they saying? What are their feelings? So the goal is one post every week that we would have on arts and culture on our main pages for the organization. So really leveraging that power behind the brand to be lifting up this content. And then once a quarter, working with arts and culture and the team in planning and development to try to find at least one or two untold stories that are in that report that you just approved, that we will be able to encourage them to write different stories on, finding different angles that maybe haven't been told before, or maybe a piece of art that maybe isn't as visible as others, to really be showcasing what that could mean and really bring along those media partners along with us. And also, you know, online, really making that presence on web be a little bit more vivid than it is. You know, if we could have a catalog of all the individual pieces of art, finding information about the artist that made it, the inspiration behind it, the cost when it was installed, you know, the kind of materials, those kind of things, really taking what we did, you know, here in City Hall and making it visibly clear right next to the piece of art, who the artist was, the material, the year, the inspiration, trying to put that as an online resource. So when people are touring those pieces of art across the community, they'll know more of the why, just not that it looks nice, but also the artist behind it and what was their inspiration behind it. So the overall kind of goals that we have is, the first one is behind the scenes. So what that public arts process entails. You know, we've heard Nicole talk about this, is, you know, the real differing nature of the process of our organization in government and in the process that someone who is an artist goes through, and being able to really marry those together and work in tandem doesn't just happen overnight. It doesn't happen easily. And I think sometimes when people see the process of you know, arts being installed, they kind of take for granted that that's easy, and it's not. And so really showing the behind the scenes, not only on, you know, how we're purchasing it, how it's being procured, how it's being installed, but how staff and the Arts and Culture Commission has to be committed to maintaining that art and showing the behind the scenes story. It's not just that one hit wonder when you install it, but what is the commitment on behalf of ACC and the city to be maintaining that art. So showcasing that. Really creating awareness. You know, I think some people, when they think of arts and culture in the community, might have one or two pieces that they're most comfortable speaking about, and they probably really like it. But how do we also engage in a conversation on art that they maybe not understand the reason behind it and some of those inspirations? And so showcasing things that they may not gravitate towards naturally, but explaining the reason and maybe getting them to interact with things that they previously never thought they would interact with, and kind of spurring that conversation around art. And then the other thing is engaging our community and asking them, what does the future of arts and culture in this community look like? You know, we think we do a good job of pushing content out to our residents. We don't always do a great job at the city of trying to listen to what our audiences are saying, and we don't want to hear from the same 10 people. We want to hear from that average resident. That's a term you're going to hear us in comms talk a lot about over the next couple of years. Is if you could ask the average resident a question or two, and you would get to, quote unquote, the average resident, what would you ask them? So one of the things that we're challenging the Arts and Culture Commission and inviting you to join us on that conversation is, what does the future of art look like in Fargo? And if we're going to derive that answer from our residents, what questions would you like them to answer as you're helping to shape that next vision of arts and culture in Fargo? So I'm going to turn it over to Emily to kind of go over some of the different strategies across those platforms that we'd like to incorporate for this.
Sure, thank you. We have quite a few platforms that we use on our team today, and each platform we try to take a different strategy and a different approach for our content that we put out there. So like Greg mentioned, the content that we are using is coming from that Ripples of Impact report, but we will be distributing it on social media in different formats. So as you can see, Facebook and Instagram, we kind of take a similar approach here. You know, they're owned and operated by Meta, the same organization. So the algorithm for us, we've seen is very similar on both. So we'll probably take the same approach for our strategy and the types of content that we're posting on those two platforms. Nextdoor is pretty incredible in our community. We have a lot of users on there, and we're able to do some targeted neighborhood-specific content on there. And really what we'll try to do with Nextdoor is promote Zen City, which we'll talk about on the next slide too, go into a little more detail on what that is, and promote those engagement activities. So like Greg mentioned, those questions that we want to ask our community and the things that we want to hear from them about, we'll really be promoting that heavily on Nextdoor. And then X and Twitter, kind of taking a different approach on the types of content that we post on there too. So doing a few threads, some short stats, quotes, and more background information on the public art that's currently in our community, and then doing some more of those artist highlights as well on there. Zen City, that is where that in-depth public discussion will happen. So it's a great place where Arts and Culture Commission and the Planning and Development Department, the city in general, can gather feedback and ideas from the community, really to give you some actionable intelligence to plan for future years.
I think the interesting part also on Nextdoor, just to consider, for a community our size, the percentage of neighborhoods and residents that are on Nextdoor are very, very high relative to our population. We have 57% of our residents, whether they're living in an apartment or a home, are active on Nextdoor. And so a lot of the times when people think about social engagement and you aren't, a city like we are, you think of, X and Facebook and Instagram. But for a city, we have a high percentage of our population on Nextdoor. So that's going to be very, very heavy in our strategy that we're proposing to arts and culture, because how we can tailor neighborhood specific posts depending on what you're surveying them on, or if you want them to engage in certain pieces of art that are within a certain area of their neighborhood, that will be really, really useful, a useful tool in our toolbox for this purpose. Ready? Okay. Yep.
So just going into a little bit more detail on some of the features with Zen City. Organic is kind of the first place that you start in the tool. That's where we can take a look at the conversations that are already happening on social media, on the web, in the news, and it's really monitoring that sentiment around whatever topics we'd like. So in this instance, we would set up a project in here that dives into what is the public saying online and in the news, on social media, on our pages, maybe not on our pages, about public art and arts and culture in Fargo. The community survey, that measures the community's satisfaction over time. So that's a survey that we are running annually. We did one in 2024. We will do one again in 2025. There may be an opportunity to get a specific question on arts and culture in that survey for 2025. You can go to the next one. Thank you. Engage is the one place in Zen City that we really want to drive traffic to for arts and culture. And again, that's that place where the ideas and the discussions and the conversations can happen, not only between residents on what they view the future of public art to be in Fargo and arts and culture, but also we can have a conversation between staff at the city with those residents on some feasible ideas or things maybe that we need to look into deeper. So it's really a powerful tool to not just talk at our residents, but talk with them. And then another feature too is pulse surveys. It is an additional cost. It's very similar to the community survey. It's scientifically valid, completely customizable, and it's very similar to the community survey in that it's a representative survey of Fargo, and it helps us better understand what our residents want on a specific topic. So it just would go in a little bit deeper into arts and culture. And then finally, experience survey. We're already implementing this. This is a survey that that is shown after a resident uses Fargo One, which is our platform to request services. So just to highlight the three that we think are a great opportunity for the Arts and Culture Commission and that we would propose to the group is to really use that organic feature in Zen City, and we can generate reports out of that. Potentially consider doing something in the community survey in 2025. We will also be running a community survey in 2026. So we may get to then compare maybe where did we move the needle, and then using that Engage platform and setting up some of those engagement activities and really trying to get our community to have a conversation and maybe give us some ideas or tell us what they like and what they don't like maybe. We think those three tools combined will be a really powerful opportunity to get some actionable intelligence for future years to come.
I know we were talking about those questions you would ask the average resident. So with that engaged platform, that's where we would place those prompts, right? How are you framing the question to give you actionable intelligence that you can do something with? And then on that engaged platform, it's kind of like Reddit, where when people make comments, other residents can go and vote those comments or questions up or down. So it gives us a good idea, as staff or as the Arts and Culture Commission members, where is their interest in engaging in a conversation, with members of City Hall or members of the Arts and Culture. And then, we can do it over text with you or Nicole or Megan, or we can do it, a video perhaps that we just, show the chair of the ACC or others answering those questions. So you answer it once in a one-stop shop and not have to respond to a lot of different emails. We're kind of bringing all that community engagement activity in one spot.
Throughout this plan, of course, we want to be tracking our progress and our results. It's not just here's our plan and we're just going to do it and leave it be. We're going to be watching and monitoring our progress and making sure that we're staying nimble and watching what's working and what's not working. So our plan would be to do a biannual report back to the Arts and Culture Commission on our progress. So a couple of things that we'll be tracking is that social media sentiment analysis, which is coming right from Organic in Zen City. So not only looking at all of our likes and interactions on our social media posts, but really looking at what's the sentiment of the comments that are being posted on our pages or not on our pages, on other pages. What's the sentiment of the community when they talk about public arts online? The next one is tracking those unique website visitors. So as we mentioned in a couple slides earlier, doing a little bit of a refresh to the website and adding some more pages with that background information on the public art pieces that are currently out in Fargo. Next, we'll be monitoring the total reach of the media stories, so those quarterly stories that we'll be pitching to the news media here. And then finally, looking at the public engagement results. So those are the results from that Engage platform within Zen City. So reporting back to you on what the community is saying out there and what maybe we should dive in a little bit deeper on with them.
The reason we're also trying to bring it back, two times a year is because we want to admit when maybe an idea didn't work, right? So I will tell you, this report that you just approved is so important for us. Having something that's approved through your commission and through staff allows us that evergreen content that we can work with planning to prioritize which projects at certain times of the year. So that's amazing, but it also lets us track over the next 2 or 3 months of what topics are really interesting to our residents. Maybe what we think is engaging, we're not seeing the high engagement rates, so we can evolve that strategy. So when we bring that report back, it's not just what worked, but it's also what didn't work, and look at those posts that are really performing well, and then doing more of those, because we don't have to be reinventing the wheel. On our discussion about Zen City, just something that's interesting in the bottom right-hand corner of this screen, if you look at these are just the number of interactions that this platform is looking at among our residents for the last 180 days. So there's There's 707,853 interactions that talked something about work that the organization is doing. And it's monitoring those conversations and bringing together that active intelligence to let us know, what are residents interested in? What are they commenting on? They don't have to just be commenting on our platforms, right? We really want to meet them where they are and not require them to come to our platforms to be making, different comments known. And so that tool really leverages those resources to be able to give you intelligence that's hopefully going to be helpful to be making some decisions throughout. So that was our presentation. We would love to have questions, comments, or suggestions.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
We have been waiting for this for a long time. I wish Joe Williams was here.
No kidding, yeah.
He would be absolutely delighted, as am I. I'm so happy that you're willing to put this work in for the Arts and Culture Commission and public art in our city. I think it's gonna make a tremendous impact, I think.
Thank you.
I had no idea that the Nextdoor app was so readily or heavily used. That was information I didn't know. Thanks also to our entire team that worked on putting that document together. Because I think that what we just heard is that really helped move things along, right? And this is, to Deb's point, something we have talked about for years and years. So this is exciting.
Madam Chair,
Yeah.
can first of all, I can't tell you how ecstatically happy I am right now, ending my day with this conversation and this information. Thank you all. I want to start by thanking the Communication and Government Affairs team for stepping up and doing this work. We kicked off the morning with a presentation about the information from the Community Engagement Survey with the full commission. And it's just a really good start to focusing on true community engagement and listening to what our citizens are saying and understanding what's important to them and then acting on it. And it's incredible, but the Comms and Government Affairs team is also, I'm a proud liaison. They're part of my portfolio, and they are the best in the business. And what you just saw is best in class approach here. And you are right, Deb, that we have been talking about. This was a draft 7 years ago, I think, when this started. So thank you to the government, the Communication and Government Affairs team. Second, thank you to the Planning Commission, the group, the Planning Department, Megan and Nicole and the entire team who literally have kept this commission going since the beginning. Between the two here, really at times single-handedly. So I think this is really going to start to see the fruits of that work. And lastly, to the entire commission. This would not be happening right now if we hadn't done this great work that you have been focused on. There are a number of meetings and conversations and working with Reach Partners to help put this together. This is just a vital piece to really do this well and focus on the community engagement. And the last thing I'll say is, also having been part of those conversations, the future of arts and culture, this is the first step of the next iteration of what does arts and culture become with community engagement and input and awareness, right? And so some of these obstacles maybe we have faced on the Arts and Culture Commission, some of them financial, some of them just understanding this being a priority for the community. This is the next step to us getting to the next level of arts and culture. So thank you to the entire commission for your work and your foresight and your vision to get this work done.
Thank you. And thank you, Commissioner, as well. We appreciate your leadership and advocacy for our entire commission. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything? Okay. I really want to move on. The next item on our agenda is the packet includes a staff report on project updates and other staff updates. Are there any questions for the staff on the report? And staff, do you have any additional updates or anything?
Just to highlight the attachment that's in the packet with the list of projects. So for the public who's listening, as the communications team and you're all, as we do do the work of, kind of that public outreach over the next year. I think Megan and her team and Chelsea will be kind of leading off into these maintenance improvement projects. And so we will be reaching out to you if we, especially at our next quarterly meetings, there might get to be a situation where we need technical expertise or guidance, but right now we think we have it under control. We'll find out. And also, then likewise with Greg's team, if any of you have individual outreach or questions or want to be further involved, as always, just reach out.
Thank you. I'm going to take one quick second and just say, I believe this is my last meeting that I'm chairing. So I just want to thank everybody on the commission. Thank you to the planning department, to Commissioner Kolpak. This has been an honor, great privilege, and I am deeply grateful. But talk about an exciting meeting to hand it over to the next generation. So love it. So on that note.
Can I just say thank you, Madam Chair, for all of your work and commitment. And yes, you're going off one commission to join another. You're a new member of the Planning Commission, so we still will see you around City Hall. So congratulations on that appointment. And also congratulations to Monica and Anna for taking over the reins. Much appreciated.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, on that note, finally, we are adjourned. Our meeting will be on May 21st.
Okay.